It has become so common for many of us not to have the ability to identify and execute our life's passions and aspirations. We have been mentally, physically, and spiritually stripped away from our natural state of being. Therefore, I created the Sabian Alkaline Home on Facebook. We build partnerships with those who are looking to find healthy perceptions with themselves and strengthen their relationship with the natural order of life. Our goal is to know ourselves peacefully, to be complete, to be whole, and to be safe. I am Tyrica, your African Biomineral Balance advocate, naturalist, and philanthropist. I've discovered a solution to help us come back to our natural state of being through Dr. Sadie. I am also the owner of TeaPosh Naturals, where we also provide natural products recommended by Dr. Sadie. We have broken the barrier of cost restraints because we have come to realize that no matter what your life circumstances is, we still need your power, your unity, your love, and your aspirations as well. We've realized that we must cleanse ourselves in order to build ourselves. In the Sabian Alkaline Home, we have thousands of people that are uniting and building a community of leaders. We plan to shift our culture one person at a time. So it's time to wake up, because we are the ones that have to change our circumstances naturally and in an alkaline way. So we'll see you soon. And be sure to like our page on Facebook at TeaPosh Naturals, Instagram, # @TeaPosh Naturals, and you can even email me at teapashnaturals@gmail.com. See you soon. Shalom.
Hello, beautiful family. This is Tyrica with High Tea Talk on Thursday, as promised. So we're getting a little hang of this thing, so I'm excited about that. But I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today. And we're just going to go right into our tea talk. We're going to keep it a little bit more brief. And one thing that I learned about last week, the announcements out of it, we're going to stick right with our spiritual growth, our natural healing, and give you some guidance on how to guide yourself back to nature. It is so important for us to understand why it's important to be able to go back to nature. One of the main things I want you guys to realize about nature, it is the one thing that is unchanged and cannot be affected no matter the circumstances. So if you notice the trees outside in the park or in your yard, those trees have been there way before you and I, way before the pandemic, and way before anything else, and it's still standing. They're still standing tall, they're still standing strong, and they're full of life, even though it's just real still and it's not being moved. But guess what? Nothing moves it. So what I have done to be able to help me go back to nature is I assimilate myself and my mind the strength, the power of trees. Just that simple. Because one of the things that we also do, and we kind of unnaturally, we pay attention to so many things. We pay attention to space, we pay attention to chemicals, we pay attention to computers, we pay attention to our cell phones. And what we're not paying attention to is the earth. But the earth is life. The earth gives us life. If there's no air, then there's no life. If there's no water, there's no life. If there's no fire, there's no life. So these elements of the earth are the same elements that we need in order to transition ourselves and flow with nature. So to be able to produce healing on all levels of our lives, whether it's mentally, physically, and spiritually, we must know the fundamentals of nature and adapt those things in nature into our own lives. Let's take a look at the grass. The grass is still green. The grass has been green before. The grass dies, it grows back on its own depending on the temperature. And the dirt, the ocean, the water, none of these things have changed no matter the circumstances. These things have gone through the same trials and tribulations that you've went through. The waters have had tsunamis. The waters have had things that sink into the water. The grasses get cut every week or every 2 weeks, but it still grows back. And guess what? That's the same thing that happens to us in our life. As long as we know how to flow with nature, we can move with nature, we can stand with nature, we can be healthy with nature, because that is the one thing that's unchanged. So no matter how many times our scientists and even some doctors and inventors and creators create all this stuff to make life more convenient, they cannot make changes to nature. And every time things change in our lives or on this earth, we have to change with it. But if we stay strong and we stay embodied in who we are, especially with our mindset and what we put into our body, we could sustain just like nature. So why have we forgotten about nature? We're so into our cell phones, we're so into convenience. Why are we not paying attention to nature? Other thing is, a lot of us have been taught in order to live a good life, in order to be able to get to your happy medium, we can't wait to die and get to heaven. Heaven could be made right here on earth in nature. So if we cannot appreciate the sky, the land, the trees, the grass, then how are we going to be able to appreciate the unknown? So while we're here in life, we have to pay more attention to what naturally occurs, adapt ourselves to what naturally occurs, and then build our heaven right where we are. Because if you can't appreciate the little that you have right now, then that means you are not prepared to receive what is to come. So we're going to be talking about our herbs, and I'm going to pour my tea in just a second and talk to you about the herbs that I'm going to do. We'll take a little break, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you a little bit about grounding. Because when you're transitioning into nature, you need to know how to ground yourself first. So let me pour my tea. So the tea that I'm going to enjoy today, it's not a bitter tea, it's more of a pleasant tea. And we are going to talk about mullein. Mullein is a great tea for the respiratory system. And again, I'm not a medical doctor. I've never worked in the medical field. Everything that I advise you is what I know have been factual for myself and the people that I've assisted over the years. So I just want to make sure I put that disclosure out there. So this is mullein, and this is very good with the respiratory system. It is also very good with cleansing the lungs. If there's inflammation built up in the lungs, if you're having concerns with the lungs, then this is one of the teas that you most certainly want to have on your shelf at home to be able to provide natural healing when there's respiratory concerns. But that's not all. See, one thing I want you guys to know about these alkaline herbs, although that there are some primary benefits to the herbs also have various other benefits that falls along with it. So although this is primarily for respiratory health and cleansing the lungs, there's some other benefits to it. And I wrote it down because I have so many herbs, I don't remember stuff by heart. But this herb mullein is very good for coughs and bronchitis. It's good with helping with the bladder, the functionings of your bladder. It helps with kidney conditions, flu, intestinal pains. Most importantly, I want you to keep in mind asthma. So if you and your children, and it is children's sake, so if you and your child is dealing with asthma, which also accumulates with the respiratory system, then mullein is most certainly something that you want to have on your shelf. To be able to pour a little cup of tea for the kids, maybe a half of 4 ounces a day, and things of that nature, and it helps to remove that phlegm and that buildup in the lungs that does not allow the lungs to operate in its natural state. So asthma is very good. Hemorrhoids, and then even if there's any painful diarrhea, if you have diarrhea that's causing a lot of pain, or you have hemorrhoids that's causing a lot of pain, mullein has been reported to give some comfort to those things. Another thing I want you to know that's very important about mullein, because this is mullein in the raw. As you know, we don't do third party, so this comes from this natural origin, Albania. This is where it comes from. But it pretty much grows in Europe, North America, in Asia. This is basically some of the main sources of where it comes from. And this is the unfiltered herb, just the way it comes out of the earth. No tea bags or anything like that. So we make our tea and we filter it, right? And one of the things that I want you to know about these alkaline herbs is when you are consuming things that naturally comes from the earth, this is how it stimulates in the body and it produces natural healing of the body, because it's like you're electrifying the body. You're giving the body something that it's been missing. You know, there's something that you have been missing has caused inflammation in the lungs and built up in the lungs. So then you're dealing with sinus issues, you're dealing with asthma and things of that nature. But also, this is also can be purchased in an oil. TeaPosh Naturals does not carry the oil drops, but there are some oil drops you can normally get from a GNC. And if you or your child are dealing with an ear infection or any type of infections in the body, you can take a drop of mullein oil and drop that in your ear, and it helps to resolve the pain and the discomfort of ear infections. So I want to make sure you write that down and keep that to the know for yourself, because mullein is very, very prominent for that. Now, the other combination, because I definitely have a combination, is Calendula. Now, some of these herbs are so beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's a really yellow, bright color, almost like the middle of a sunflower. But this is Calendula herb. Now, a lot of times Calendula is used as a tea as well. If you have any women's health and yoni steams and things of that nature, a lot of individuals will use Calendula as well. So some of those benefits for Calendula that is very prominent, it helps to build new tissues in the body. So if you've had damaged tissues, especially with someone that's dealing with Crohn's disease, and your intestinal walls is pretty much broken down, it's not strong enough to be able to build itself back up, Calendula helps to produce new tissues in the body. And that's one of the reasons that women will use it for yoni steams. Because with you are yoni steaming with that, it helps to build new tissues in that private area for women. Okay, so Calendula is also very good for wounds and rashes. So if you and yourself or your children, they fell out the bag, they got a little skin, rash or like diaper rash, you can actually get the Calendula powder. And what I would do is mix it with the burdock root powder and maybe even some sea moss gel and apply it externally. So it definitely helps to heal wounds much faster, and it actually does it naturally. So instead of using the Neosporin and all this other crazy stuff, everything that you need to heal your body is in a natural source. So we are now enjoying mullein and Calendula, and it is also available at TeaPoshNaturals.com. And we're here at One Bridge Connect inside of Regency Mall, and both of these herbs are most certainly available for you. So in addition, I've also added, I have imported my raw agave from Mexico. It took us a little while to get it. Sometimes it can take us a little while. But I imported some raw natural agave from Mexico, and I infused it with burdock root. So even if you're just enjoying your sweetener, your natural sweetener, that does not affect your sugar levels or anything like that, try the TeaPosh Naturals raw agave infused with burdock root. And that's what I'm going to add to my tea today. So this jar is a 16-ounce jar, so it's not a little jar. Depending on how much sweetener you're using, it should definitely last you quite some time. So I have added my agave, and I don't have my stirrer today, but it's okay. So I'm just going to swoop my little cup around. And when I'm drinking Calendula, I actually like to keep some of the little flour inside of my cup because it's so beautiful. So it does have, I'm taking a little flour out. It does have a bit of a tart taste to it. You can definitely tell that it is an herb, but it's not bitter. It's very manageable. So adding things like cinnamon or key lime juice, ginger, agave is so wonderful for the mullein and the Calendula mix to consume. I forgot about my pinky. Gotta hold the pinky out for the tea time. Now, and next week too, I do have a special guest going to join us next week, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So, with the Calendula and Mullein, guys, this is something you most certainly want to have on your shelf to ensure that you are fueling your body with what nature provides. Because again, look how many storms we've been through. Look how many issues and concerns the earth has been through. But these flowers and these herbs continue to grow, and they grow unaffected. So even, a lot of people say, oh, let's do organic. Well, to have things organic, there's certain guidelines that you have to follow to make things organic. And then they'll actually come and test your farming area to make sure you're using organic products. But to me, those organic stipulations may not be as natural. So here at TeaPosh Naturals, we like to focus on wildcraft herbs, comes from the dams, the rivers, the mountains, and things of that nature that's untouched. I like to provide it to you exactly how God has provided on earth. Because when you assimilate the body with what the body is made of, this is how you electrify your body so your body can heal in its natural state. So you see why it's important for us to consider going back to nature. Let's even consider some of the things that's going on that you're seeing in the news right now. In the news right now, you're seeing that there's some food shortages going on. You see that your shelves in the grocery stores are becoming empty. Even here at TeaPosh Naturals, a lot of business owners are dealing with their products not being available. So we're having to source them from different areas. Luckily enough, for most of my items, I've had them imported, from other places, but I do go through those issues where there's food shortages. So what will happen if, in fact, you're not able to get the food that you need? Well, if you resort right now to things that are created and made from the earth, get used to it. You feel your energy returning. You see your skin starts to clear up. You see the weight starts to come down. You become a totally different person, completely charged with nature. And you can be as powerful, if not more powerful, than the tree standing. Because the tree is standing, but you can create. And you can actually create new solutions with the way that the world is changing right now. So listen, it is so important, guys. If there's a shortage and I'm taking sea moss every day, I most certainly will survive. If I'm drinking some type of herbal tea every day, I most certainly will survive. But because all of my life I've been taught, like the fries and the potatoes and the seafood and all these things, we have now grown an addiction to be addicted to these things. So it's hard for some of us to get away from these things. But it looks like in the days coming, these things are going to be getting away from us. So we have to right now think about solutions on what will we do if things turn out to be the worst. So the one thing that you want to do is make sure that you're connecting yourself with nature. You're learning a whole lot more of what nature provides. Even the Christians in your Bible, it tells you that everything for life is created on earth. God has provided everything. Even some of your medications are made from these natural herbs, but then they add other things in it to preserve it, to make it last longer, so that way they can make more money and shelf life and things of that nature. But when you use what God has naturally provided on earth in a natural way, then you cannot and will not go wrong. And outside of that, oh my God, the change in your life, the things that you always wanted to do, you start seeing those things manifesting, because you can't focus on your talents. You can't focus on writing your book. You can't focus on putting things together to develop what it is that you love to do if you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with illnesses, if you're dealing with a whole bunch of other concerns. And even us that we do, have gravitated to nature, we still have issues and challenges that we go through. And we still have problems that we go through. But you know what we do different? We meditate and we ground ourselves. And we ask the Most High to align us with that challenge, to learn the positive of everything that we go through so we can build something better from it. So again, I know you guys hear me keep saying, don't make misery in your circumstances. Make possibilities. Take my sip. All right. So, and that's some really good tea right there. I really like it. It's like giving me like a buttery taste a little bit, a bit creamy and things of that nature. So I really, really like that blend. So again, that is Mullein as well as Calendula. So let's talk about grounding. So what do I mean when I say grounding? And we're going to get more into a spiritual conversation today. When you're grounding, you're basically connecting yourself to earth. Energies work. Energies is how life is happening on this earth. You know, so for example, when you see crystals and things of this nature, this is one of the grounding stones that Captivating Kia has here at One Bridge. And she also has some black obsidians, right? So these crystals are literally pieces of the earth. And because they're pieces of the earth, you can use them to drive energies to and from you, whether it's producing calming, whether it's aligning you so you can be able to handle your challenges a little bit better, and you can bring a thought process into difficult situations to be able to reverse those things to be more positive. But you have to be able to ground. So with grounding, you most certainly want to grab those crystals that will produce grounding to help you connect yourself to the earth's energy. And let me tell you how you know these are real as well. So in your cell phone, they have quartz in your cell phones to be able to transpire the energies in the earth. So as we are sleeping at night and just driving, there's so many rays of energy that's going above and around us, radios, TVs, and now even more efficient with our cell phones. See, when I'm in Haiti and they don't have so much electricity going on like that, and I look at the sky, the stars literally look like diamonds in the sky, almost like I'm looking at a photo. But if you're here in America and you look up at the sky, it's going to be foggy. And if you see one star, it's going to surprise you. Why? Because there's so many rays and energies that's being transferred in the sky. So it could block some of those positive energies for you. So when you're grounding, you have stones like the black obsidian, about shungite and things, usually black stones. This helps to keep you grounded. Here's another two things I want to share with you of how to stay grounded with nature and flow with nature as we're going through transitional times in our lives. One, it is very important that at least one or two times out of the week, you want to remove your shoes and go stand on the ground. Just your feet bare in grass, concrete, or just something with the ground. And the electricity in your body, as well as the electricity that's moving and growing the earth, because the earth is always moving. The earth is always moving, it's always have energies flowing to keep it steady. So that's why the earth doesn't necessarily just blow up. If it did, we all here, so that's not happening. So how is the earth still forming? It's because of those rays of energies that surrounds it. So when you stand on the ground, in the grass, in the dirt, at the beach, somewhere, when you do that, you align yourself with the functionings of the earth, and it gives you a sense of calming. It gives you a sense that you're still a part of something wonderful, no matter what life circumstances you're going through. What is it that's something wonderful? The earth. If you cannot see what's wonderful about the earth, again, how are you going to be able to enjoy heaven? How are you going to be able to enjoy anything? It is the earth that moves us, so we have to get in tune with the functionings of the earth. So just going outside and standing in barefoot in the ground, on the grass, in the dirt, it gives you a sense of grounding to balance yourself, to balance your circumstances. And you will be amazed of all the things that you're going through that morning, and you go out and grind, how things just seems to ease out throughout the rest of the day. The second thing, when you are amongst individuals, whether you're at work, you're at an event, you're with the kids, or wherever you are, when you're out and about, right? When you go home, the first thing that you want to do is jump in the shower. And I'm not saying jump in the shower with the stove and take the bath and all these types of things like that. You don't have to do that. You just want to allow cool water that's just a little bit cooler than room temperature. Not hot, not too cold, but you want that water to flow over your body. Let me give you an example of why that's important for grounding. You know, you just had a really rough day, you moved all day, you went to work out, and you've been rushing, and things have been so chaotic. But when you get home and you take a shower, just for that moment, it feels like it's all over. Now, your problem didn't end, it didn't go away, but look at how you feel when you take that shower, and you feel renewed, you feel refreshed. So when you're doing that, you're actually cleansing your spirit, you're cleansing your aura, you're cleansing the other spirits that's carrying on other people that have been around you wherever you was. So let's say you go out and you had a challenging conversation, a whole argument with someone, you know, and then your spirit is off. Because what happens is when you're angry and you go into a room, a place where other people are, then your actions, the things that you say, could make the whole room angry, right? So what happens is you can't block it, sort of say, but if you have your grounding stones, it allows you to keep your mind in check. If you put your foot in the grass, then you know how to block those things. But you also want to go home, and the first thing you do is jump in the shower and just allow that cool water to breeze over your face. Now, ladies with your hairdos, you might not can't do that, so put your bonnet bag on and just allow that water to brush over your face and be able to cleanse. Water is purity. Water purifies. This is why a lot of people do the baptism things and things of that nature. So this is your form to be able to refresh yourself and be able to shake that off. Now, light workers and people that are always out and healing people through conversation, a lot of times when you're dealing with issues and you're helping people heal, you have the tendency of pulling their energy into yourself. Like myself, if I could be around anyone, if I'm just walking by someone, I could literally feel their emotion. That's just a gift that God has given me, and it took me way a long time to figure out what I was supposed to do with that. But I can literally feel that energy. So what happens is I'm pulling all those energies to me. Imagine we have the TeaPosh Naturals store as well as the cafe. So imagine all those energies that I encountered from the customers that came in, from the employers that came in and out, from my vendors, the people that I'm talking to all day. And all this energy could actually be stored into your body. So how do you release that? You want to ground yourself. And one of the ways to do that is every time you get home and you're from a group of people, just jump in the shower, run that water over you to cleanse those energies away and get refreshed and recharged. I know that sounds pretty odd and you've probably never heard of that before, but this is what the Spirit is guiding me, and this is some things that I put into practice, and it's so amazing. So like I said, you jump in that shower, you want that cool water over you. That does not mean that the problem is over, but it gives you a sense of refreshment. Because whatever it is that you're feeling at that time could determine your actions. Whatever your energy is holding at that time is going to bring more of that. So if we're out here, oh, I'm so broke, and I'm just broke, then everything about you, every decision that you make, everything that you go through is going to be equivalent to you being broke. So we have to be able to change the way that we feel. If we're going through a very distressful situation right now, you want to force your peace by changing your energy. Feel what it feels like to be in a more positive state. Feel what it feels like to have the solution for the problem in which you're going through. Because the answers, the solutions, the healing resides in you. Herbalists are not healers. We don't heal anybody. We transfer the information to you for you to gain the knowledge and the understanding that you need to be able to heal yourself, right? You are the healer. You are the one that's living in this body. And you are the one that has to put the proper things in the body to allow it to heal itself. All right. Lastly, so the first thing is you want to make sure that you take your shoes off and you stand in the dirt, in the grass, and ground yourself and pull Earth's energy into the power that resides in you to align yourself to be more peaceful. When you're out and about, especially if you're doing a motivational thing or you went to an event, you went to a pop-up shop, when you get home, you jump, not with the soap and all that stuff, but you just go home and you turn on the shower, not hot, a little bit cooler than room temperature, and just allow that water to flow over your face, over your body, over your head, to be able to rinse those spirits and those energies to give you a fresh and refresh start to move on to the next level. The last thing I want to tell you about grounding, it is in your mindset. It is in your mindset. Now that you know that the energy, the earth is energy, you are energy, and everything that we do and everything that we encounter, every person that we meet is some type of form of energy. So align yourself with positive and beautiful things that makes you happy. So one of the things that I do is I love flowers. And Autumn just told me last week she's the same thing. That's a Libra thing, I guess. We just love flowers. So sometimes on the weekend, even because I'm single and all that right there, so I can go pick up my own flowers. And I have those flowers in my bedroom next to my bed. I even take trees, right? The trees outside of my house, I'll take that tree and break a piece off and put it in some water inside of my prayer closet. I surround myself with beauty to be able to force myself into things that I love. Because a lot of times we are looking for someone else to give us the love that we require. If you do not know how to give yourself love and peace, then you are not going to know how to deliver love and peace to anybody else. So that tells you right there that you have to take time to learn yourself, to develop yourself, to ground yourself with earth, with energy, right? These are some of the things that we've lost over the time when we were born. We knew these things because God had already infused these things in the makeup of our body. But when we learn the ways of the earth, we learn the ways of life, and then you learn whatever it is that you're going through with your parents and so on, and you kind of forget about simple things that keeps us going every day. So this is why these things are so important to know when you're going back to nature. Because right now, things are so chaotic for many, many of people. I mean, we are going through distressful moments. We're going through situations where, things have been taken from us. We're going through situations where, we're losing things. We're not, things that we normally are used to are not readily available. So are we going to make misery out of circumstances? Or are we going to make those circumstances even more powerful than it was before? Listen, I don't know if anybody told you today, but I want you to know this, that the power that you need, the love that you need, the gratitude that you need, the $1 million that you need, all resides in your mind. And those things are formed with various levels and different variations of energy. So even with me holding this cup right now, there's a such thing as gravity. Gravity is energy. So when you align yourself with what functions the earth, then that means you align yourself with functions your spirituality. And then it gives you enough energy to be able to do some runs and do some jags and exercise. It gives you enough energy. Because if you're dealing with a whole lot of stuff, you're not going to feel like getting up to go to the track. You're not going to feel like going to the exercise and things like that. Unless you're military, they've been drilled in that. They get up 4 o'clock in the morning. They're very disciplined, and, stuff like that. And some people are very disciplined. But what about those people that are not so disciplined? And we have to shift our mindset to understand why it's important to get to that track. So I want you guys to know it's very important to ground. Okay, very important to ground, to be able to connect with what God has naturally provided on earth. And again, I can't say this enough. If you cannot appreciate the air, the sky, the earth, the grass, the rocks, the critters, the ants, okay, the spiders, all of that, if you don't see the life and appreciation in that, then you can't enjoy heaven. Everything that you need, you can make life your heaven, and you can experience it, and you can see it, and you can feel it, but you have to create it. All those things that you've been so passionate about and that you have the solution for, then that means that's why you were born, to be able to create it, to be able to bring it forth for other people to experience. A lot of you, the things that you're going through in your life, it is a whole lot of people going through that same thing. And if you can't figure out how to fix it and bring a solution, then they won't either. So this is why a lot of times we go through these challenges in life, to be able to help us to create the possibilities, to educate other people on how to do it. That's why you have books with authors, you have people write books, you have people doing journals, you have people doing podcasts. That's because the Most High have embedded in them a talent that can move people, that can educate people on how to move in this new earth to come, or already here, with all these changes and detriments. So although I go through some detrimental things, I focus on the positive of it. I focus on what is going to be created out of it. I think about, wow, I can't believe this just happened and it hurts really bad. But what else am I going to create to make it a wonderful experience? That's what testimonies are, right? You get a testimony because you went through something horrible, you cried, you lost, you did whatever. And then when the blessing comes, you're like, oh my God, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't even understand why I need to be happy. You know, you have people that have their business and they're successful, and you say, yes, that's what I want. But do you want to go through the challenges that they went to get there, right? Because the journey is more important than the outcome. Let me say that again. The journey is more important than the outcome. It's the journey that's more important than the outcome. So make sure you're using different ways to ground yourself. Lastly, when you get up in the morning, whether you go outside or you not, or when you get ready to leave and you go outside, do this. I want you to look up to the sky. Just don't think about nothing. Don't think about the God that's up there, whatever y'all want to think of the birds. Just look at the sky and show appreciation for the sky being clear, sunny, or even rainy, and bow. Give honor to it. When you do simple things like that, you will be amazed of how the earth will give honor to you. You will only receive what you give. So if you show earth, nature, respect, gratitude, abundance, trust me, it's going to give it right back to you. So thank you for joining me on High Tea Talk. So listen, I do have a special guest. Yes. I do have a special guest that's going to join us on next week, Miss V Can Cookies, those favorite sea moss cookies that you got. She's going to join me and talk about doing some natural sweets, because I know a lot of us are dealing with sweet cravings. And if you're also interested in joining me on Tea Talk, we talk about any topics over some tea, right? Just send your email to info@TeaPoshNaturals.com. We will reply to your email with a form for you to complete, and we look forward to sharing High Tea Talk with you on Thursdays at 1:30. So thank you so much for your time. Remember your grounding, and also remember, you want to have mullein herb, and you also want to have calendula for wounds and for building new tissues in the body, and you want to have mullein for respiratory health. And yes, you can smoke the mullein herb. It is a part of our smoker's blend, and it helps to cleanse the lungs. Right? So get your little crystal pipe. Captivita Kia has some nice pipes here as well, right? Get you some pipes, smoke some Damiana along with this mullein, and you will be good to go. But it's also good for ear infections, for bladder, for kidney concerns. Mullein is the herb that you want to have on your shelf. So I so thank you for taking the time out to join me on High Tea Talk today. Learn more about alkaline herbs. Most important, learn more about nature so you know how to flow with nature.